the channel. I'm Mr. Giggles, and this month it's Spooky Month. So sit back, relax, and get spooked.
Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm the Underdog Reacts on confused. Jesus, what's dark. I watched A Quiet Place Part 2 with the tagline, "Silence is not enough." Wait a minute. There we go. Hi. So I watched A Quiet Place Part 2, Silence is not enough. Yeah. I didn't know this was a trilogy. You know, I didn't know this movie was a trilogy. So tomorrow will be the last movie of A Quiet Place. I thought it was longer. You know, maybe 4 movies so far. No. And I didn't. Yeah, I planned it in, but I apparently forgot that tomorrow is A Quiet Place Day 1. So we kind of do have an origin, a kind of a prequel to the sequel. A prequel as a sequel. Yeah. Let's just start. We're in the middle of an empty street. And the next shot, again, in an empty street. But this time we have here on the right a traffic light. You know, it's green, orange, red. Like that's when the light, you know, the green one glowed and then it went orange, red. So, and we see a car driving up, and it parks, you know, at the side. Door opens, and out comes Lee, you know, played by John Krasinski. They're played by Jim from The Office. Yeah. I know that his first name is John, last name ending on ski. Bit blanking on it. Anyway, so yeah, he comes out, and I thought, wait, why is he still alive? Because we just saw him die in the first movie. Well, yesterday. He shuts the door, and then the screen goes black. It says then, Day 1. Ah, that makes more sense. We then see a, you know, we're kind of looking from chest up, you know, at the guy. You know, he's looking up, and he's probably looking at the television. Apparently we're inside that pharmacy supermarket issue, that mini supermarket, yeah, from the last movie that was empty, where we started here at the beginning of the movie. This time, you know, because it's Day 1, everything is still there and it's still clean. So there's a door behind him, and the door opens, and in comes Lee. You know, we see him walking off screen, probably saying hello when he comes in, and then he walks to the place where the fruit lays. You know, I don't know what that bin, container, cooler, well, I don't know what it is, but you know, he picks up a few pieces of fruit, some oranges, and then a plastic bag, and he walks off. I'm also gonna leave that, because if you want to know what's gonna happen next, watch the movie yourself. Yeah, which there's something I didn't say yesterday, which I actually forgot because I always put on subtitles. Even though I can understand it perfectly fine, it's always useful for me because I'm living next to a street where some uh, scooters. I don't mean scooters from mobility scooters, but I mean scooters from motorcycles and all. You can that kind of scooters. Can pass by, and that's sometimes loud, and I can't understand what they're saying. Now, if you watch my videos, you sometimes probably can hear it also in the video, when something loud is driving by. So, subtitles are always useful. But what I didn't say yesterday, which was actually kind of important, if you speak another language in a movie, usually I watch American movies. And John Wick provides his own subtitles, and some movies also provide their own subtitles. But you know, I don't know if you heard that, but like that, sometimes I can't understand what they're saying. But if you speak another language, in mostly English spoken movie, um, like maybe Russian or Spanish or German or even Dutch, which is probably highly unlikely that they will speak Dutch, in an American movie. But anyway, just a different language or sign language provide subtitles because without subtitles it just looks like signing, because I think that a lot of people that watch this movie don't know sign language. Yeah, and there's probably also a percentage of people that do know sign language that watch this movie. And don't mind them because they probably understand what they're saying. I don't know. I don't know sign language because I don't know sign language. So provide some subtitles for on your own if you're signing in a movie, and it's important, because otherwise I don't know what they're saying, and especially if the deaf girl is speaking, I don't know what she's saying. Yeah, because she's talking to her family and the family is talking back. I don't know what they're saying if I don't have subtitles on. So provide your own subtitles in the movie. If you use sign language, or a different language than the most spoken language in the movie. If it's a Spanish movie, and they speak English, they probably provide Spanish subtitles, or they speak a different language than Spanish, or just even in Japan, probably in Japanese movies, if they speak English, they provide some Japanese subtitles, because there are probably Japanese people that don't speak English. Maybe some elderly people, I don't know. I've never been to Japan. But, provide your own subtitles in the movie because that's, and I don't know, I probably nobody is watching I said hi director or your movie maker, but maybe you are, but, if you are, and if you're gonna do that, provide your own subtitles because, it's, in my opinion, more useful, because some people just don't speak that language, But, like I said, John Wick does provide their own subtitles, When they speak Russian, you have some subtitles, or, yeah, mostly Russian then. So, they do it. And I've seen it also in maybe a handful of other movies that we've done on the channel, and that's not a lot. Maybe not even a handful, I think less than 5. And I don't count the John Wick movie as 4 of them. I count them as 1, because that's a whole franchise. So maybe 2 or 3 then that I've seen that provide their own subtitles, or I forget just more about it. Anyway, let's continue. This is maybe smart, if you go to a baseball thingy, a baseball match, and it's from your children maybe, usually you have those fans that you can put your hands in. We saw the youngest kid that died in the first movie pretty quick. I don't know his name. Marcus survived. I don't know what the girl's name is. And then we have the other kid, the first kid. And Marcus was in the game. Marcus played baseball. And the youngest kid, excited obviously, but he put his hands, his finger through the fans. And in my opinion, that's not very smart. Because, if the ball just, reflects off the, just maybe a foul ball, if you get a foul ball and it flies in your direction and you're holding on to the fence, there's a chance that your fingers might be broken after the ball hits them, because those balls are pretty hard, and if they're going fast, they're like a projectile. So just be cautious, be cautious, when you're doing that. Because I was worried, that kid maybe, well, that's obviously not gonna happen, but it could have happened, it could have happened. Yeah, this is also a part of the part that I was curious about when that baby came in the first movie. What was their plan if the mother died? Because the baby won't survive without the mother. They probably don't have baby food, that you have to make with milk. Where will they get milk? I don't know if you can use water for it, because I'm not a parent. But what was their plan? They can't feed the baby. The daughter is way too young to breastfeed, obviously, and no. So the baby would starve to death. So what was their big plan if the mother would have died? That's one of the things that's just not smart if you're in maybe an apocalypse, and it's just happening, and food resources are scarce, like milk. Where are you gonna get milk? Or the baby formula that you need, with the milk. Where? Because if the mother dies, the baby starves. It's not very smart if you think about it, And yes, it's maybe a small chance, but that small chance can still turn out, So yeah. Marcus, that they were they saw a light. They were on top. The girl was on top of a silo. She saw the light. And they went to there. The whole family. And they went through the fence. And the mother, she hit the trap. A line, and that fell down, some thing that made noise. So they had to run, and then Marcus, he stepped in a trap. Ouch! And it was that thing, like a bear trap, but it was not a bear trap. It was smaller than a bear trap. I know that there are different versions of that kind, but I don't know what the name of that thing is. Like a kind of a clam. Just is it a clam? Just, you step in it and it's and he stepped in it. Ew. Painful. The girl, the daughter, she put her headphones on, when he was half awake, half asleep, probably, when he was resting, and she turned on the knob of the radio, and then a song came, something from "Look Behind the Sea" or something like that, And Marcus, he tapped her for stop. I hear music. So he said, straight up, and the girl a bit later, found out that there's an island. So it's not, just a song. It's a message from "Look Behind the Sea" because there's an island, and those aliens can't swim. So, there's people on the island. So she had the bright idea to go alone. And she told, Marcus that I'm going. And Marcus said, oh, yeah, I'm gonna tell Mom, obviously, because please don't go. She went anyway. And she followed the train tracks, and she went. She found, a wagon, a train wagon. Water. So she went inside, and at the end there was a room, and she found a medkit. So she picked it, and a corpse fell after she got it, and she gasped. Well, it said gasp, but she made a sound, and then a monster came. So she had the radio with the microphone, so she put her earpiece to that thing, cranked it up, that irritated the thing, and then she, with one hand, tried to, the shotgun, she shot, but maybe she missed or she hit it, but it didn't die because she didn't hit the head, and that thing, came closer. So she cocked the shotgun, but it got stuck, down. So what was her other option? Cowering. I get it, but that was stupid because she went alone, and one of the things is, what if a monster walked up behind her, because she is deaf and she can't hear that fucking monster, right? But luckily Ament was sent after her by the mother, and he was in time to shoot the monster. But if he was too late, she would have died. Her youngest child died in the first movie, and Marcus probably will die because of his leg. Because I don't know how serious it is, but he definitely has to see a doctor. And well, she got some new bandages and some medicine, so maybe it will be okay. But if it's not going to be okay, he probably will die maybe of sepsis, which is rotting of the flesh and then turning black and then so something like that. Yeah, if you want to know what sepsis is, just look it up. I'm not. I do have a Red Cross certification to do CPR and shit, but I'm not a doctor, so I'm not that knowledgeable about medical things. So just look it up or ask your doctor. It would be weird to ask you to call your doctor for, hey doc, what's sepsis? It would be kind of weird, or just bring it up, because then he probably, or she probably thinks that it's just a weird question. But just look up what sepsis is. Anyway, if Emmett wasn't in time, she would have died, and then Marcus would have been her only. No, the baby was still left. So but still, 3 children die, and then just a baby. That's the husband dead, 3 children dead. You're only left with a baby. Yay! Very depressing. Yeah. There was a small small scene where the camera was just focused on her, and she couldn't find her earpiece. And that whole small scene was totally silent. No music, no outdoor sounds or anything, because it was of the perspective of her, which was pretty nice actually, and very interesting. But then when Emmett came with her earpiece, but because he was out for while she was sleeping, all the sound came back. So that was pretty nice actually. What we also found out is not only the monster that monsters can't swim, they are fire resistant. Yeah, so fire doesn't work. Yay! Ugh. And the ending of this movie was really maybe abrupt. I didn't expect it, because they were eventually they got on the island. Emmett and Emmett and the girl. They got to the island and they played her earpiece through the radio. And Mom and Marcus were still at Emmett's hiding place. And the ending was because it was a monster, there in the radio station, because they kind of brought it over due to the boat, maybe what they got there. I don't know. Oh no, the boat drifted to the island. That's it. With the monsters on top, because they can swim obviously. But anyway, so there, and the girl, she had the pole. Well, the thing was her earpiece was playing through the radio, and she hit it with a stick, an iron or a metal pole stick, whatever. And Marcus shot the monster that was at the hiding place, both at the same time. And we see her pulling it out, the pole out of the thing's head, and we see at Marcus show that the monster dies, and I think we see the mother ending. That's how it ends. We see the mother ends. Not from, oh, they got reunited again, stuff like that. No, just ends. That I didn't expect that actually. I thought something else would have happened for, oh, happy family, yay. No, just all right. So I'm very curious what will happen in A Quiet Place Day 1. Do we get to see, from there? Do we get a different family? I don't know. We'll see you tomorrow. And also you get the movie. What was it called? The Skin I Live In. I don't know. Yeah, if you want to see those movies, subscribe. I will give this movie. I haven't rated yet. 4 out of 5. It was not as good as the first movie. The first movie, had you really in suspense. It was just new. That's probably why. Because everything about it's just new. And this movie, we all kind of knew it already. What the monsters were. What the. Yeah, I find the first one just a bit better than this one, so I'll give this movie a 4 out of 5. And tomorrow we'll wrap it up with the first movie, A Quiet Place Part 1. Not A Quiet Place Part 1, Day 1. Subscribe to the channel, leave likes, recommend a good monster movie or alien movie down below in the comment section. If you're gonna recommend Alien, we're gonna do that next month, so don't worry. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to my second channel, Underdog Eats, where I do food, drinks every week, and also from time to time hot sauce and alcohol. And I have a third channel, Underdog Reacts, where we do primarily music, but also some other videos from time to time. Yeah, it's fun. So check them out, link down below in the description, and I'll see you guys next time.